May we now move to our next session that is also an equally important sub-theme under the main theme of the conference. The session 5 reads IOFI Roadmap for Shaping the Sustainability Agenda for Islamic Finance Tailored to the Unique Needs and Expectations of its Shareholders. May I have the pleasure after this photo session to invite the moderator of this very important session, Ms. Sabine Syed. Ms. Sabine Syed, ladies and gentlemen, is the woman power among the Muslim Ummah in Islamic finance, who is currently leading the International Islamic Rating Agency. She is the CEO of the Islamic International Rating Agency, IRA, stationed in the Kingdom of Bahrain. She is a very, very learned Islamic finance specialist, CFA graduate, and so on and so forth. Easily can be Googled. Her credentials are extremely potent. We welcome you, Ms. Sabine, on the stage. Might I have the pleasure to invite the first panelist of this session, Mr. Suhail Isa Az-Zajjali. Mr. Suhail Isa Az-Zajjali is the Assistant Secretary General, Islamic Financial Services Board, IFSB Malaysia. We have the utmost pleasure to have Mr. Suhail Zajjali, and we look forward learning from your thought process on this very important sub-theme. Dr. Mohammed Baltaji. Dr. Mohammed Baltaji is our next learned speaker. He's the General Manager, Sharia Supervisory Central Administration, Bank Misr Egypt. It's a great honor to have you on stage. Mr. Rashid Atai. Rashid Atai is the Business Development Manager, Sibafi, Kingdom of Bahrain. Mr. Rashid Atai, may we have you on stage as we look forward learning from your thought process. Ladies and gentlemen, our panel is complete and it's set to start. All the best, and Sabine, all yours.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Firstly, thank you to all my panelists. We indeed have a very knowledgeable panel out here. They have continued to guide us with their wisdom, and I hope, inshallah, this will also be a very insightful session for us. Thank you to all the speakers who have set the stage for today and given us a lot to think about yesterday and also in today's morning session. And of course, thank you to IOFI for pulling us all together. This is not going to be a very lengthy session because we are already out of time, and I have been told to keep it short and sweet. What I hope to achieve, inshallah, by the end of this session is a few concrete points and suggestions from my brothers here in infrastructure institutions with background in central banking and practice as well as standard setting. A few concrete thoughts, a few concrete steps on how should we move forward on the sustainability agenda, on incorporating it into our the way we do our business and the way we go about the economic endeavor of our lives. Firstly, let me just briefly introduce my fellow panelists to you before we go into our topic. I'll start with Brother Suhail Zajjali, who is my colleague and friend from IFSB, the Islamic Financial Services Board. We are all part of this fraternity here in Sibafi and IFSB, trying to set the path for the industry to follow, a tough task indeed, given the quality of minds available. So I will be seeking his input on where is IFSB with the sustainability agenda and the standards. Next, we have Dr. Mohammed Baltaji, Bank Misr, GM, Sharia Supervisory Central Administration, Bank Misr. He also has had a background in 40 years dedicated to Islamic banking, over 40 years dedicated to Islamic banking. So a lot of insights coming from his regulatory, his background in regulation, having worked in both Egypt and Saudi Arabia, and in his current engagement in leading the Islamic finance function and thought process in Bank Misr. So inshallah, we will have a lot to learn from him. And we have Brother Rashid Itai, also from Sibafi, another infrastructure institution in Islamic bank, in Islamic finance. And we will ask him a lot about the new work that Sibafi has done in the context of the declaration made during COP28 in Dubai just last year in 2023. And there had been a declaration that the standard setting body, the infrastructure bodies, including Sibafi, IFSB, and AAOIFI, will very consciously be pushing the sustainability agenda as part of their endeavors, as part of their standards. So we have a lot to learn from them. We now revert to our topic on sustainability, and we will focus on Maqasid al-Shariah and how the connection between the two is unmissable. We will in many ways go back to the basics and basically challenge ourselves. I think that in many ways the Islamic finance and banking industry has made big strides in eliminating riba, in fostering concepts of zakah, of sadaqah, but have we really been able to make this inclusive? Have we really been able to extend social benefits and economic prosperity that has come over the last so many years, over the last 50 years especially? Have we been able to fairly distribute it and make everyone, society as a whole, a partner in this endeavor? So we're going to think about that a little bit. When we try to define sustainability, the one thing that I think encapsulates the spirit of sustainability most precisely is this idea that in everything that we do, all the economic endeavors that we have, and everything that we do in every walk of life, we have to keep the future generation in mind. We have to make sure that there is enough food, there is enough fish in the sea, there is enough energy resources, there are enough building materials. Basically, we have to try to assure an ecosystem which allows life to thrive and for life to continue to thrive after us, after we are long gone. So this is at the heart of sustainability. And if you see Maqasid al-Shariah, which, just to refresh our memories, if we keep this in mind, that our focus is to be on safeguarding our faith through values such as moral uprightness and justice and equality for everyone, the continuity of life, and other life that all life can sustain, the protection of intellect through expanding knowledge resources, through expanding thought and discovery, promoting thought and discovery, through protection of progeny, the focus on family values, and the stability of the family as a basic unit of society, as well as the protection of wealth for future generations. And this is not just about honestly generating wealth, but also about allocating wealth, saving, eliminating wasteful expenditure, eliminating wasteful overconsumption. These are the ills that we see so commonly around us in modern times. The fallout of having too much. So this is what we're going to basically discuss, that how these two concepts, sustainability, which is something of a more recent buzzword. I mean, we've been hearing about the environment and society and governance for the last 10 years. Actually, it goes much further back in the 1990s when the Cadbury Committee was set up. Basically, it was charged with designing a corporate structure and a system of responsibilities that promotes a good culture. It brought this consciousness to our mind that the objective of business is not just to generate money, but to do so in a very responsible fashion. So this is how it started, but in reality, obviously, it goes far back. The roots of all these concepts, E, S, and G, and how we earn our money are essentially, they are rooted in the concept of morality, which has very sure roots in religion, in our faith, which talks about, a consciousness of society at large. So this is something that we're going to incorporate in our discussion today. Within the context of the work that is being done by my organization, the Islamic International Rating Agency, we became signatories of the UNPRI, the United Nations Principles of Responsible Investing, in 2019, before COVID hit us. So this was basically about being responsible in our disclosure, about keeping in mind what environmental risks, social risks, and governance failures can do to credit ability, credit repayment ability. So we incorporated this into our rating methodologies, and the idea was, in many ways, the international bodies were pushing us to make sure that we were, A, keeping these things in mind while assigning a credit rating, and also making appropriate disclosures. Have our rating opinions been affected by what is happening on the other fronts, the E, the S, and the G fronts? So this is one of the first things that we had done back in 2019. IRA had also participated in a very meaningful methodology development, which was the ESGI, which was actually launched by one of our partner rating agencies in the Islamic world. It covered the traditional concepts of E, S, and G, but it also covered concepts which are traditionally missed when we talk about governance. When we talk about governance, we tend to focus on, the board structure, compliance, AML from a sanction monitoring perspective. We look at risk management. We look at the authorities, the lines of reporting. But I think we miss the aspect of fair distribution, of treating all stakeholders, giving them the dignity that they deserve, treating them with the dignity that they deserve. So this was something that was incorporated in this. The concept of economic fairness rather than economic might was incorporated in the concept of ESG. And then, of course, IRA's own methodologies have always focused on, we've called them fiduciary ratings from the beginning, because when it comes to dispensation of fiduciary responsibility, it's not just giving the stakeholders, the shareholders, or the creditors the money that is owed to them, but it's also about protecting all stakeholders, be they employees, be they customers, be they other investors who have put their trust in our work. So this was always at the heart of our work. And then AAOIFI expanded this concept, fiduciary ratings, even further by coming out with two standards. One was the fiduciary rating methodology for institutions, and the other was the fiduciary rating methodology for the financial fiduciary rating standard, Sharia compliance and fiduciary rating standard for instruments. So this was basically an expansion of the idea where and it gave basically more teeth to the rating agencies also to develop this culture of transparency and push for fiduciary responsibility in institutions and the work that we do. I think there has been generally a very healthy trend. A lot of discussion has been going on in the previous sessions also, today and yesterday, about how we may have complied with basic standards of Sharia, but we may have missed the bigger standards. So this recent talk that has started, I think, is very healthy. And this is basically what I'm going to focus upon in my discussion today with my panelists. So starting from Brother Suhail, firstly, in the context of COP28 and the declaration which was made by IFSB and SABAFI and AAOIFI regarding the standards that need to be made and the work that needs to be done by yourselves as a standard-setting body for Islamic financial institutions. If you could give us a bit of the highlight of how do you wish to incorporate and take this concept forward?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. First of all, I would like to thank AAOIFI and the Islamic Financial ISDB for hosting this great event, which really helps of all of us to not only understand the way forward for the sustainability of Islamic finance. It's always giving us the chances to collaborate together, to have the ideas, to learn from each other, to how we can improve the standards, we can improve the practices which we are doing in our daily life. It's not only related to the specification of the standards here, but it's even the practices which is happening in the banking system. Not banking system, the Islamic finance in general. So just to highlight a couple of things which we are always talking about, that how the standards can help the industry to improve and for the sustainability. The role of standard setters always is to support the industry by seeing the framework, the most recent updates which is happening in the world. The challenges which we are facing as Islamic finance industry is we are always not always, we are the ones who are started our Islamic finance few years ago compared to the conventional. So the challenges which we are facing is different, not different than the conventional, definitely. But the challenges which we are facing, they have more matured system than Islamic finance. But that doesn't mean that we are behind, no. What is happening in Islamic finance? Islamic finance is really speeding now. From our point of view, we reached to a stage where we are really in critical path now, where everyone is really talking about Islamic finance. I think even yesterday, Dr. Sami Suhailem was highlighting about the report, where really it's been taken almost from Islamic finance perspective. That shows the importance and the way forward. How they are looking at us. So therefore, for our it's as a standard setter, our mandate is always to bring that impact in the climate change, in the sustainability of Islamic finance. We have to bring the disclosure, which helps this industry to grow. The other things which we are not only focusing on the standards itself, we are even in the research part of it. What research we should come with, what is the challenges we are facing currently, what we are going to do by tomorrow. Okay, today we started something. This standard will be focusing on specific related to the sustainability of sustainability of in general. What about tomorrow? There is some risks which is specific to Islamic finance, which you will not find it in the conventional. Sharia-related issues and other, which we really have to be more careful in other than the conventional. So this is basically what is standard setters are doing. Our colleagues from AAOIFI, from other institutions, rating agencies, they are really looking forward on enhancing the related issues for this sustainability. But with partnership with all regulators. If regulators cannot, they don't come forward and see the challenges which we are facing, it's the practice, it's the reality in the ground. So wherever there is lots of advanced jurisdictions where they reach to a level where they have their guidance, their principles already been established. So what will be our role as standards? Definitely we have to learn from the experiences. We have to learn from where they are looking from. There is some advanced economies. There is some economies, they are just catching up. So it's a standard setter's role to enhance, to push, to give the opportunities to this. One of the platforms, this is the platform which we really hope that it can help lots of institutions. We are always there, like the standard setters are always there to support the industry. It's not the industry, I don't mean by the industry, it's only the regulators. No, even the market players. You are always welcome to do that. We have lots of processes which enable everyone to comment as well on our own standards before they are established, they are in the market. So we really urge every one of us to really contribute in these standards, contribute in enhancing the sustainability-related issues. It's not only sustainability, other issues as well. Together we can improve. Together we can bring the industry to a level where it can reach to these levels. I will just highlight maybe where are we as IFSB now today in these current stability agenda and where we will be in the future. We recently are working on some climate-related financial risks in Islamic banking. Practically, what we are doing, we have the working groups which provides the critical guidance focusing on the regulatory and supervisory authorities and their feedback and what is the challenges they are internally facing and how to overcome these challenges. This is related to the banking sector. We have same thing for the ICM, which is Islamic capital market. As well, we are having the guidance notes, which helps the Islamic capital market on issuing, not only issuing, in providing the guidance and the highlight best practices in other jurisdictions. The other thing we are as well working on the industry, like Islamic financial services industry with IFSB is that stability report. The report covers lots of highlights in the sustainability related issues. So that will help the industry to understand what others are facing, what our members are facing, and how to overcome all of these things. So this is just in brief. So I will give the floor for my colleagues. Thank you.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Brother Suhail, on in terms of what still needs to be done on IFSB's front, a little bit of a future focus, and then if you could just connect, from your conversation, I gathered that some of the challenges probably are, as you said, that some economies are advanced and others are a little bit behind. The ability of the regulators to push the focus on sustainability-related goals into the environment has been difficult because people are generally dealing with economic distress, a very hyperinflationary economy. So it kind of shifts the focus from the progeny and the posterity and sustainability to here and now. So I believe that is what you're referring to. So is it awareness? Is it, what is it that we can do as industry thought leaders, not just as IFSB, but as industry thought leaders? What is it that we can do? What is it that our audience can do? A very good point made by you about everybody getting involved with standard setting, but practically in their daily work, what is it that they can do? I'll come back to you on this after we hear from Dr. Mohammed El-Taji. As I said, a life dedicated to Sharia-compliant finance and guiding the industry forward. We would love to hear from him. I believe he has a presentation on our subject today, so I would invite him to please make that presentation first, and then we will go with our specific questions. Okay. Do you wish to go to the roster, Doctor? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أولا شكرا لأيفا على اختيارها هذا الموضوع الهام الذي دائما تختار موضوعات تهم الصناعة المصرفية الإسلامية. يمكن في البحث اللي أنا هقدمه أو الورقة اللي أنا هقدمها النقاشية ديت يمكن هنركز على 3 نقاط مهمة. النقطة الأولى هي هل أيوف فعلا بتأخذ في اعتبارها عملية التنمية المستدامة عند إعداد هذه المعايير سواء المعايير الشرعية أو المحاسبية أو الحوكمة، كما أن هذه المعايير عندما يتم إعدادها ما هي التحديات التي تصادفنا في الصناعة المصرفية الإسلامية من أجل عمليات الاستدامة والتنمية اللي هي محك رئيسي اليومين دول على المستوى الدولي، ثم ما هي الحلول الممكنة لهذا الموضوع. أنا مش هطول في الجزئية دي كلها عشان نطرح برضو فرصة للمناقشة. هنتجاوز الجزئيه كلها ديت، لكن انا عايز اتكلم على الهدف اللي احنا هنتكلم عنه هو مدى قيام الأيوفي باستخدام أو بالحث على مراجعة المقاصد الشرعية في معاييرها. أيوفي عندما تقوم بإعداد أي معيار سواء كان معيار شرعي أو معيار محاسبي أو معايير الحوكمة تنظر في البداية إلى مقاصد الشريعة. أهم حاجة عندنا عندما يتم وضع أي من هذه المعايير نبدأ في البداية من المرجع الرئيسي لمقاصد الشريعة. ومقاصد الشريعة بصفة عامة إذا نظرنا إليها نجد أنها فعلا هي تؤدي إلى التنمية المستدامة وتؤدي إلى تعزيز عمليات الحوكمة وتؤدي إلى غير ذلك. ولدينا كثير جدا من المقاصد الشريعة اللي هي خاصة بالإعمار والتمكين والأمن وغير ذلك والعدالة والمسؤولية، والأحاديث كثيرة في هذا الأمر، من أحاديث من غشنا فليس منا وغير ذلك من الأحاديث التي تهم عملية التنمية المستدامة داخل الأسواق المالية، وهو ده ما يهم فينا في الجانب الصناعة المصرفية الإسلامية. هنا بنيجي نتكلم على جزئية مهمة من رؤية أيوفي. أيوفي دايما بتحاول ان هي تخدم هذه الصناعه. هي منذ انشئت عام 91 والمعايير اللي تم انشائها سواء كانت معايير الشرعيه التي هي اساس العمل ثم يتم تحويلها الى معايير محاسبيه، ثم اهتمامنا مؤخرا بتشكيل مجلس الحوكمه وايجاد عمل معايير حوكمه والمراجعه. كل هذه النقاط كانت بدايه التعاون اللي هي عملت خريطه طريق التعاون مع IFSB والتعاون مع مجلس الخدمات الماليه الاسلاميه سبافي، ووقعوا مذكره تفاهم في ضوء اهتمام الامم المتحده في هذا الامر. فكان في تعاون بين الجهات الرقابيه او الجهات الداعمه للمؤسسه الماليه للصناعه المصرفيه الاسلاميه من سبافي وايوفي IFSB عشان نقدر نقول ان احنا محتاجين نضع خريطه طريق لهذا الامر في الواقع العملي. ايوفي في المرحله دي كلها منذ عام 91 حتى الان اصدرت 120 معيار شرعي ومحاسبي ومعايير حوكمه ومعايير اخلاقيات غير ذلك. هذه المعايير كلها اذا نظرنا اصبحت النهارده هي المرجع الرئيسي للصناعه المصرفيه الاسلاميه من اجل تنميه هذه الصناعه، من اجل التنميه المستدامه، من اجل تنميه الدول العربيه، من اجل تنميه الصناعه الماليه الاسلاميه. ايوف عندنا في تطوير المعايير دايما تتطور. يعني احنا معانا اللجان الاخوه اعضاء اللجان المحاسبيه والشرعيه والحوكمه في المؤتمر دايما بنعمل مراجعه على هذه المعايير. ليه؟ هناك تطوير ايضا، ما لا يتقدم بيتقادم، ولذلك دايما بنعمل تطوير اصدار معايير الزكاه ومعايير القرض الحسن وغير ذلك من المعايير التي تهم عمليه الاستدامه في ضوء المعايير اصدرت الامم المتحده في هذا الجانب. ولكن عندنا مجموعه من التحديات. دي بقى النقطة اللي هنتكلم عليها، التحديات والحلول ايه هي. ودي احنا دايما نحاول نتكلم من الناحية العملية. التحديات بتاعتنا كيفية التوافق بين الربحية والاستدامة. دايما أصحاب المؤسسات المالية الإسلامية عايزين يحققوا ربحية. طب تحقق ربحية ازاي وعندك انت ممكن تؤدي إلى تمويل بعض المشروعات التي لا تحقق أرباح؟ فانت محتاج توافق بين هذه الجزئيه والثانيه. هل احنا نحقق ربحيه افضل ولا امول بعض المشروعات التي لا يمكن ان تحقق ارباح على المدى القصير؟ فدي برضو نقطه مهمه جدا بيتم توافقها. يمكن البنك المركزي عندنا في مصر عمل حته مهمه جدا لهذا الامر، ان هو عمل عمليات دعم لهذه المشروعات الخاصه بالتنميه المستدامه من خلال تخفيض معدل الربحيه على هذه المشروعات، وهو دفع الايه الفرق من ايه من حصيله البنك المركزي. يعني بدل التمويل مثلا ب 20% 15% لا هو بيدي التمويل 3% و5%، يعني اعتقد انها مصاريف اداريه ولكن هو بيدفع الباقي للبنك من اجل دعم هذه المشروعات. فهنا عمليه التوفيق دي احد التجارب اللي اعتقد ناجحه، وخاصه ان تمويل المشروعات الصغيره دي بتحقق فعلا تنميه في الواقع العملي. المعايير الشرعيه والاتحادات الفقهيه عندنا اشكاليه أن هناك بعض الاختلافات في الهيئات الشرعية وبعض الدول في المعايير الشرعية أو في تطبيق بعض أنواع الشرعية. هذا الأمر ليس اختلاف في الجوهر، لكن اختلاف بعض الأشكال التطبيقية، ولكن دي ممكن التغلب عليها من خلال المعايير الشرعية اللي طلعت من AAOIFI. حقيقة هي معايير تطبق في أي دولة. حقيقة احنا بنرجع لأي النهارده مؤسسة مالية على مستوى الدولي، المرجع الرئيسي لها سواء كان في المعايير الشرعية أو في الناحية المحاسبية أو الشرعية أو الحوكمة هي معايير AAOIFI اللي موجودة النهارده، لأن دايما فيها تطوير، دايما فيها عمليات كده. التحاليل التنظيمية والقانونية دي نقطة قد لا تواجه كل الدول، لأن بعض الدول ألزمت البنوك الإسلامية داخلها بتطبيق المعايير. يعني في دول زي البحرين، في دول زي الإمارات، زي السودان، زي باكستان، ألزمت وسوريا طلعت قوانين بأن البنوك الإسلامية تلتزم بمعايير AAOIFI. في دول أخرى تسترشد زي السعودية وزي مصر وزي بعض الدول الأخرى. فهذه الأمور بتحتاج إلى الموائمة بين احتياجات السوق وبين التطبيقات هذه المعايير. دي اللي تكون التحديات اللي احنا قابلناها. لكن ممكن احنا نقول ان من اهم النقاط اللي احنا بنقول ان احنا ممكن تبقى داعمه وممكن ليها حلول ويمكن ليها التطوير، هي عمليه مهمه جدا. انا بعتبر من الواقع العملي من خلال عملي في البنوك الاسلاميه كانت اهم نقطه في تطوير الصناعه هي تطوير المنتجات. الصناعة المصرية الإسلامية وهي معنا في القاعة، يعني الناس من اللي هم عاشوا هذه التجربة وآمنوا بها وطبقوها بأوقاتهم ودعمهم الكبير ليها منذ نشأ هذه الفكرة. ولكن كان فعلا عندنا مشكلة ازاي ان احنا نقدم منتجات للمتعاملين، سواء منتجات التمويل أو منتجات الخاصة بالخدمات المصرفية أو التمويلية أو الاستثمارية، تلبي احتياجات المتعاملين وتكون متوافقه مع احكام الشريعه. وايضا النهارده عمليه اخرى اننا كيف نصدر صكوك خضراء. يعني يمكن في مصر كان في دعم من الحكومه وايضا من هيئه الرقابه الماليه انها تؤدي الى تدعيم انشاء صكوك خضراء للتنميه داخل الدوله، ودي كانت اصدار يمكن حوالي 4-5 اصدارات في مصر صكوك خضراء فقط لا غير الصكوك العاديه اللي هي لتمويل الشركات. ولكن كان اهتمام من الدوله، هي الدوله اعتقد من اهم الجهات الداعمه للتمويل وتطوير المنتجات دي كلها هي دعم هذه المنتجات والحث على تطبيقها. فاعتقد من الحلول اللي هي ممكن تؤدي الى هذا الامر هي عمليه انشاء الصكوك الخضراء والتمويل الاجتماعي. انشاء الصناديق الاستثماريه المخصصه دي في بعض الدول انشات صناديق تنمويه. انا مش عايز ادي مثل قديم ولكنه مثل قديم حديث. في ماليزيا طبوا حج اللي هو فعلا ده بيؤدي الى تنميه اجتماعيه للحج في ماليزيا، دي برضو كان احد المهم جدا. التعاون مع المؤسسات الماليه الاسلاميه حقيقي دلوقتي احنا بوجود IFSB، بوجود AAOIFI، بوجود سبافي، فعلا اعتقد ان التعاون اصبح النهارده اكبر من الاول بكتير جدا في استيعاب السيوله. وبعدين اعتقد برضو دور وكاله التصنيف الدوليه واداره السيوله الموجوده في البحرين دي فعلا عملت تعاون بين البنوك الاسلاميه من اجل او المؤسسات الماليه الاسلاميه من اجل استيعاب السيوله. انا مش عايز اقول استيعاب السيوله بالمرابحه كوميدي، لا انا عايز اقول استيعاب السيوله في التمويل الفعلي. استيعاب السيوله مش بس في شراء سلع وبيعها، لا انا عايز اقول احنا عايز نتكلم على تمويل فعلي المشروعات تنتج، ومن هذا الانتاج يتم تحقيق التنميه الاجتماعيه والاقتصاديه داخل الاسواق الماليه. فهنا بنقول ان التعاون مع هذه المؤسسات فعلا واستيعاب السيوله الفائضه لدى مؤسسات واخرى محتاجه اليها، اعتقد ده يؤدي الى وجود التنميه المستدامه. يمكن دي حبيت اركز على التحديات اللي احنا بنتكلم عنها، وحبيت اقول الحلول اللي هي موجوده فعلا طبق منها جزء، واعتقد المرحله الجايه في تطبيق اكتر. دي كانت خريطه الطريق اللي هي عمليه كيفيه دمج اللي هي قام بها AAOIFI مع سبافي مع IFSB في عمليه الدمج المعايير الشرعيه ودمج المقاصد الشرعيه في المؤسسات الماليه الاسلاميه من اجل التنميه المستدامه. شكرا جزيلا، ونبدا على الفتره المناقشه. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much, brother, for an insightful presentation. I want you to tell us a little bit more about the standards that you were referring to in your presentation also, and in the earlier conversation we were having about green sukuk. I mean, you're working in Egypt. Of course, you have a background in regulation, both in Egypt and outside. So if you could just give us some background on how can we embed these concepts in our Sharia governance frameworks? Because we want to talk about the integration of these sustainability concepts which are at the which basically come from Maqasid al-Shariah. So if you could just elaborate a little bit on that. before I move to my esteemed panelist. Yeah, yeah. No, no. Yes, please.
طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اعتقد ان التجارب العمليه اللي من خلال التجربه المصريه او تجارب عشتها في بعض الدول الاخرى زي السعوديه واللي اصدرت معايير للحوكمه. حقيقي يمكن السعوديه لما اصدرت معايير الحوكمه من حوالي 3 سنوات كانت من افضل المعايير اللي شفتها على الواقع العملي، اللي هم وضعوا بعض المعايير الخاصه بالحوكمه والاستدامه والتنميه للبنوك الائتمانيه داخل السوق السعودي. هذه المعايير جت من الريجوليتور اللي هو الجهات المسؤوله عن الرقابه على هذه الجهات. هذه الامور وضعت البنوك على محك رئيسي جدا وهي كيفيه الالتزام بهذه المعايير، سواء كانت بالاسترشاد معايير ايوفي الشرعيه والمحاسبيه، ولكن ايضا التزام بالمعايير اللي هي اصدرتها هيئه البنك المركزي السعودي حول هذا الموضوع. هذه الجهات زي الكويت زي السعوديه زي الامارات اصدروا مجموعه من المعايير الحوكمه فعلا اللي بتؤدي للتطبيق العملي، ولكن احنا محتاجين فعليا لدعم هذه المؤسسات مع بعضها البعض، التعاون مع هذه المؤسسات كلها من خلال الجهات الدوليه زي ما قلت ايوفي او سيبافي او IFSB في العالم، التعاون مع هذه الجهات ودرء المخاطر. يمكن ان السؤال اللي حضرتك كنت سالتيني عليه حته التطبيق العام لهذا الكلام، احنا في بنك مصر عملنا حاجه مهمه جدا، عملنا دليل اسمه دليل سياسه المخاطر الشرعيه. دليل المخاطر الشرعيه ده معتمد من مجلس الاداره واعتمد من البنك المركزي في مصر وتم الاهتمام بيه. ليه؟ لان وجدنا فعلا المعايير دي كلها ازاي اقدر احقق الاستدامه والتنميه لهذه المعايير على الواقع العملي. دي كان احد اهم الدليل المخاطر الشرعيه، والدليل المخاطر ده بيحول الى نسبه برسنتج وليس يعني نظري، لا ده كان بيقول مثلا مدى تنفيذ هذه المعايير بنسبه قد كده وحط لنا معايير ومؤشرات وخرجنا بنسبه. كان بيهتم مجلس الاداره بكيفيه تغطيه هذه المخاطر فعليا. فاحنا بنتكلم النهارده على عمليه المتابعه للتطبيق العملي للمخاطر وكيفيه تجنب هذه المخاطر الشرعيه والمحاسبيه والتزام بالمعايير اللي هي موضوع الميثاق الامم المتحده الخاص بالتنميه والمستدامه. اعتقد هذه المعايير مع تطبيقها مع متابعتها اعتقد تكون هي نقطه مهمه جدا، وخاصه ان البنوك المركزيه لما بتطلع تعليمات لما تيجي تطبق هذه المعايير لازم يكون عندك هيئه شرعيه، لازم يكون عندك اداره للرقابه الشرعيه، اداره للمراجعه الشرعيه، ومنتجات معتمد. يعني اي بنك مركزي يقول لك انا اي منتج هيعرض على البنك المركزي لابد اولا من اعتماد الهيئه الشرعيه كامله له ويتم مراجعه الهيئه الشرعيه. لما يعتمد منتج بتبص لكثير جدا من النقاط اهمها المقاصد الشرعيه في التطبيق العام. دي نقطه مهمه جدا في الواقع العام اللي شفناها.
Thank you very much, Dr. Beltaji. I move on to Brother Rashid Itai from Sibafi, playing a very key role actually in the drive towards sustainability. So my first question, brother, to you is regarding, the same question that I've been asking my other brothers regarding integrating the fundamental idea of sustainability and, attaching it with the core of our belief system, Maqasid al-Shariah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So regarding the role of Sibafi in the sustainability journey in Islamic finance industry, actually this is a journey that started even before the declaration. So with the establishment of our strategic plan for the period 2022-2025. So with the establishment of this strategic plan, we've put sustainability as one of our core strategic objectives. And since then, we worked on various initiatives. Some of them are highlighted in the declaration. One of the most important, perhaps, initiatives is the development of the sustainability guide for Islamic financial institutions, which is a guide to help the industry in integrating sustainability practices with their core business activities. And this is based on 5 main principles. So the first one is the sustainability integration, of course, following a top-down approach, looking at integrating sustainability considerations in the business strategy, in the vision, mission of the bank, in putting some strategic objectives and targets, and then moving to the resource management as well. So, for example, energy efficiency. So all these considerations need to be put under the umbrella of resource management. Then comes the development of the SOPs. So banks need to consider developing SOPs to help the different employees from different levels in contributing to the successful or the journey of sustainability integration to make it successful. Then comes the fourth element, which is related to capacity enhancement. So this means that the bank must have like a dedicated unit for sustainability. Everyone need to be informed about the sustainability strategy of the bank, and they need to believe in it and also contribute to it. And then the last part of this first principle is, of course, the activities. So the screening of the activities must consider not only the Sharia compliant aspect, but to add another layer of sustainability to finance projects that are, for example, environmental friendly, or projects that are that have like a positive impact on the society, and consider other dimensions rather than just the return. And the second principle is related to the governance. And this is actually something really important, because we think that with this principle we can ensure that the bank is working towards integrating sustainability into its core business activities. And with the governance, what we propose is to have, in addition to the Sharia committee, to have another committee, a sustainability committee, that will work together with the Sharia in the screening of the initiatives, and also in the decision making, in evaluating the actions of the bank to consider the Sharia, but also, as I mentioned, other considerations like social considerations or environmental considerations. And this committee is reporting to the board and also informing the management, and working together with other committees like the risk committee or the audit committee. Then comes, of course, in the risk management to consider social and environment risks. So this is the third principle. Then, of course, the bank must show what they are doing in terms of sustainability, and this is where the reporting comes into action, like to communicate the initiatives that the bank is doing, to report based, in line of the international standards and practices. And the fifth principle, which was mentioned by both the other speakers, like the collaboration. Collaboration is very important, and perhaps one of the initiatives that shows this collaboration is the signing of the declaration, and having the three infrastructure organizations in one platform with the support of a regulator, which is the Central Bank of UAE. So collaboration is really important, and without collaboration, because with the industry specificities, you need to work also with the international standard setters, adopt international practices, make them adapted to the context of Islamic finance, and this cannot be done without collaboration and without proper communication with these international organizations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All very important points indeed. But of course, one thing that is recurring in things, in what was stated by all three of our brothers here, was about collective efforts, integration of efforts, learning from each other's experience, and I think this was a very important point. One other point that caught my attention in what Brother Rashid Atai stated was that in the governance guide, when they were talking about having a Sharia compliance committee, Sharia committee, and also a sustainability committee, which works together with the Sharia committee. And this is something that I want to bring out because I feel that there is value in rethinking sustainability from a Sharia standpoint, because it kind of broadens the perspective even beyond what is envisaged in the E, S, and G. As I stated earlier, I think the G is also a bit narrow in its approach. It's more about design, corporate design, and more about accountability for maybe financial fairness is very much there. But I think the concept of fairness has to be a little broader, and maybe putting it together with Sharia governance frameworks will help broaden that perspective. So going back to Brother Suhail, as I said that, I felt that some of the challenges that you were identifying were with regards to the level of awareness and the level of urgency felt by different countries in addressing sustainability and making it implementable. So, I mean, if in terms of what you think, what gaps do you think are still there? And what do you think IFSB can do to address those? What gaps do you think are still there?
Thank you very much, Sister, again. The main challenges which we can say that the Islamic financial sustainability challenges, risks are not different than the conventional as well, are not much different. But what is the main challenges in Islamic finance is the standardization of these standards. That's why you feel inconsistency between the regulators and others, where when it comes to implementation, everyone will be having different approach of implementing this stability related standards or related guidance. So one of the main challenges is the standardization. IFSB now currently is working on that standardizing all the understanding and how the sustainability is understood for all of us. The other challenge is that the models themselves. All the models are based on the conventional side so far. So this is one of the challenges, the models which we have to be specifically tailor-made for Islamic finance. So by bringing these kind of collaboration with everyone, and then standardizing the standards and the guidance for the market, I think that the challenges which we can enhance, which can improve the sustainability itself. Sustainability in general in Islam, it's not something new which we are talking about. It's never new. It's always we were talking about this, even the earlier days of Islam. That's why you see Rasulullah always encourage all the people to do good, even small things which we can sometimes even we don't realize, oh, this is actually, it's really affecting even the sustainability in overall. So, subhanAllah, it's something not new for Islam, but definitely there is some challenges which we have to unify the understanding of the sustainability, which therefore each one of us can understand, can do the same thing and same understanding for all of us. So this is the challenges which I think it will really help. Again, I will emphasize on the same point I was saying earlier, collaboration between all the institutions can bring that and standardization to all of us. Thank you.
Dr. Eldaji, from your point of view, where do you think are the gaps in the industry's handling of the sustainability issue? Do you think there is value in integrating sustainability concepts in Sharia governance frameworks of banks so that the Sharia experts, the scholars on board, can keep an eye on whether the IFI, for instance, it's doing its job of reaching out to the right people? This business of raising money and giving out money, is it being done fairly? Even if the returns are do not really constitute riba, is it being done fairly? So this task of overseeing these macro objectives of Islamic finance, do you think incorporating the sustainability agenda into Sharia governance frameworks, will this be a good development? Do you think that there is a need to do that or benefit to doing that?
اولا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اولا تحريم الربا اساسا دوت هو ده من يعني من اهم الممارسات العمليه للتنميه المستدامه. هو دوت من الاساس، هو ده من احد اهم المقاصد الشرعيه في بدايه العمل المصرفي الاسلامي، ودي اول نقطه عمل البنوك الاسلاميه. لكن انا بعتقد من التجارب العمليه اللي هي حدثت فعليا هي الجهات الرقابيه لما كانت بتدعم هذه المشروعات التنمويه. زي ما قلنا التجارب اللي حصلت مثلا في مصر، البنك المركزي قام بعمل مبادرات لاي مشروعات ستارت اب، مشروعات خاصه بالبنيه التحتيه، مشروعات تنميه البيئه، الطاقه النظيفه اللي هي الطاقه الشمسيه وطاقه الرياح، دي كان بيدعمها البنك المركزي بدل ما يدي تمويل بنسبه عاليه جدا، لا كان بيديه تمويل للبنك، يقول له خد تمويل بسيط جدا 1 2% 3% وانا اكمل لك هذه النسبه. هذه كانت من اهم المبادرات اللي حققت ربحيه جيده جدا. هيئه الرقابه الماليه برضه كانت بتدعم انشاء صخور خضراء بانشاء قانون وتعليمات بهذه الامور. فاحنا بنقول ان الجهات الرقابيه اللي هي بتدير الاقتصاد في الدوله مع اهتمامها بالنواحي الشرعيه لهذه الجهات، يعني هيئه الرقابه انشات هيئه شرعيه مركزيه غير الهيئه الشرعيه الفرعيه، بقى هناك في رقابه مزدوجه من المنظم الريجوليتور وبين الجهه اللي هي بتعمل التنفيذ. فهنا بنقول ان احنا الجهات الرقابيه لما بتدعم هذه المشروعات بتحقق تنميه فعليه. النهارده بنتكلم عن المشروعات الصغيره والمتوسطه برضه لما بدوها دعم بالكامل، هو ده برضه حقق التنميه المستدامه، لان دي المشروعات دي كانت من احد اهم الاساليب للتنميه، من تشغيل العاملين، من تنميه مستدامه لمشروعات جديده للتنميه الاقتصاديه. كل دي هذه النقاط تجارب عمليه في الواقع العام. واعتقد في اكثر من تجارب في الدول العربيه عشتها مع وخاصه في السعوديه وبعض الدول الاخرى، كان السودان وبعض الدول الاخرى كانت بتدعم هذه المشروعات من خلال توجيهات من الجهات الرقابيه لهذه المشروعات. فاحنا بنقول احنا البنوك الاسلاميه حقيقه هي عندنا مشكله، اصحاب البنوك عايزين ربحيه ولكن عندنا تنميه مستدامه بدون ربحيه. فهنا لما الجهات الرقابيه تقوم بتعويض هذه الجهات عن هذه النقطه، اعتقد الجهات البنوك الاسلاميه ممكن تدعم هذا الامر، وخاصه ان اصحاب المشروعات الصغيره والمتوسطه بالذات او اصحاب الجهات التنمويه محتاجه انها تشتغل شريعه كومبلاينس. يعني النهارده بنتكلم على سوق النهارده وصل اكثر من 4 تريليون دولار على المستوى الدولي. يعني في مصر مش عايز اقول ايه الرقم، تريليون جنيه دلوقتي بقت قليله، لكن تريليون جنيه في مصر النهارده وصلنا لهذا المعدل حوالي 12 13% من السوق. نتيجه ايه؟ ان هناك كثير جدا من الشركات بدات تطلب هذا الامر. فكلما دعمنا هذه الصناعه، كلما ما اخرجنا لها معايير، كلما اجرنا لها مجموعه اهتمام يعني بمقاصد الشريعه. واتذكر انا قول الشيخ صالح كامل رحمه الله عليه يقول لك دايما يقول ايه، دايما كان يقول للفقهاء شددوا علينا خف الله عنكم، يعني التزموا بالنواحي الشرعيه في تطبيقاتنا وما هي المقاصد والمآلات. العمليه التمويل فقط مش عايز يكون التمويل بيخدم الاقتصاد، يعني هو مش عايز الاقتصاد يخدم التمويل. كان دي كلمه الدكتور سامي السويلم ربنا يبارك فيه، يقول لك لا انا عايز التمويل يخدم الاقتصاد، يعني انا بمول عشان امول الاقتصاد مش عشان اشتغل تمويل فقط لا غير. ومن هنا كلما كانت التزامنا بالمعايير الشرعيه والتزامنا بمقاصد الشريعه وما تحققه الشريعه الاسلاميه من نهج هذا التمويل، كلما قدمنا الى التنميه المستدامه. واعتقد ان الجهات الرقابيه، اكرر مره ثانيه، الجهات الرقابيه والجهات الداعمه لهذه الصناعه هم يعني البنك الاسلامي للتنميه اصدر النهارده اكثر من صك ب 2 مليار مره، 1.5 مليار ومليار في السنوات الاخيره دي كلها منذ كورونا، كلها صكوك تنميه مستدامه وصكوك خضراء للمشروعات التنميه. كل هذه الجهات لما تجتمع بعضها اعتقد ممكن تحقق الاهداف الخاصه بالتنميه وتحقيق اهداف الامم المتحده في هذا الكلام.
ان شاء الله. Thank you very much, much appreciated. Brother Rashid, you mentioned the sustainability guide of Sabafi. Could you also tell us a little bit, just an introduction of the GHG tool that you had introduced to the market a while back, I believe?
Yeah. So one of the other initiatives as well that we have launched just recently is the development of greenhouse gas emissions measurement tool in the context of Islamic finance. We believe that this initiative or this project underscores our commitment to aligning Islamic finance with the global climate goals. We, especially now with the increasing challenges related to climate, so there is a need for the financial sector as a whole to take into consideration managing these risks, either transition risks or physical risks. And perhaps for Islamic finance, physical risks is more important because the industry is linked to real economy. So with the disruptive events related to climate, there will be more impact, more negative impact on different aspects. So to manage these risks, we think that it's a journey of thousands of steps. But the first step is to know first our contribution to climate change. What is the emissions or the contribution to the emissions that Islamic banks that are related to or linked to the investments and financing portfolios of Islamic banks. Of course, there are a number of methodologies that can allow to measure these emissions, but they are in the conventional context. So our project was to look at these global standards, these global practices, and try to map them and adapt them to the context of Islamic banking, take into consideration the specificities of the industry. So this methodology is based actually on the GHG protocol and the Partnership for Carbon Accounting Financials standards. And we try to follow the same approach adopted by these standards, but of course adapting it to to specific asset classes of Islamic finance, and then taking into consideration for the calculation in the attribution factor, for example, of a specific asset class, to consider all the scenarios related to Islamic finance. For example, if we take a contract of ijara, calculating the attribution factor will be different based on the scenario before the sale and after the sale. Same goes for the investment. Do we know where the proceeds are used, or is it unknown? So these scenarios will impact actually the methodology or the calculation. So in our methodology, we try to cover as much as possible. We try also to be very inclusive by selecting like the most common asset classes in different markets. But of course, we know that there are certain challenges, especially with regards to data availability. So we try to provide certain recommendations on using, for example, proxies or data sector specific data for that are related to sectors instead of the activity or the specific asset class. In addition to this, we are given also some recommendations related to operational challenges with regards to capacity building and again partnerships, collaboration, as well as like open discussion with experts, so that we can develop further the methodology and make it more relevant to the industry. So yeah.
Thank you very much. I think just to wrap up, a lot is still to be done. One of the things that is important is that the disclosure requirements have to be seriously pulled up. Very mindful of what was shared by our colleague from IFSB, that the challenges on the ground are material. Everybody has their own unique scale of problems, their own unique scale of capacity to handle those. There is a lot to learn. There is a lot of room for collaborative effort, and but it's a long way to go. And perhaps rethinking sustainability from the mindset of of Sharia, of our deen, I think will probably help us making a more, taking some more well-rounded steps towards sustainability, and maybe give something to the global community by way of what the concept of sustainability and ESG can and should cover. So thank you very much, brothers. Thank you very much. We will all be around for questions, if any, later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Sabine Salim, and to all our very esteemed and learned panelists, Brother Sohail, Dr. Baltaji, Brother Rashid. Thank you very much for your very thought-provoking and enlightening session. Ladies and gentlemen, this wraps up this session, which is a session 5 overall on day 2 of this prestigious conference. We are now going to have a short coffee and networking break, and then we'll come back and we will do this small AAOIFI fellowship graduation ceremony, celebrating and distributing the certificates to all those who have passed AAOIFI fellowship certificates. So please join us in around 20 minutes time, so for us to kickstart the remaining of the course of action. Thank you very much.